Hello and welcome to the 23rd vlog. 23 weeks in a row I've been doing this video. Never fails to amaze me how I've stuck at this, but never mind. Anyway, this week has been pretty good. I've done a lot of miniature painting. Again, the April challenge really is pushing me and a few other people, which is really cool to see. But I've also made a bit of start on a new project. I think I may have touched on it last week, I can't remember. But it's a build for Crown Port and it's called the Drunken Mule, and it's a pub that I'm making. Scratch building out of found materials. It's also going to be my entry for the Tabletop Crafters United build challenge, which was begun at the beginning of the month, and it actually runs for 2 months this time. So it's got a couple of purposes. So yeah, there's a few things there. It's going to be a relatively short video, I think. I really don't know. I have not yet edited it. I'm just about to do that now. So I will stop rambling and I will see you again at the end of the video. April the 5th, and so the 5th day of my challenge. And what I've got out here is a small section of the to paint that I am working through. And if you ever wonder why I came up with this idea to challenge myself to complete at least one miniature a day, you can see why. Now what we've got here is we've got Sharky and Worm from the Scouring of the Shire set, who have been in that state for roughly 7 months, maybe longer. And there is Frodo of the Nine Fingers from the same set. We also have a Frodo putting on the ring, and we have a bunch of hobbits over here, and we have a Gimli on rock. Down here we have some hassle-free miniature children that were begun when I was doing Rosie's Hobbit Hole, so they've been there for a few months. And here is Gaffer Gamgee, who was also started. I want him eventually to be on her board, so I really do need to get him done. I've got the couple of, not that these are really part of the challenge, but I do need to do them. These are the archery butts that I want to have for scatter terrain. And then at the back here, we've got Theodred, who I started when my mum was here, and that needs to be done. I've got all of the Reaper miniatures that I'm preparing, which are not part of this yet because they've not really been begun, but they will be begun today. I'm about to prime them. Here I've got some Gundabaddies. So I've got some Gundabad. I've got a Gundabad Berserker here. I've got the Keeper of the Dungeons. I've got a Gundabad Orc Captain. I've got, can never remember his name, and I've got, these are very close to completed, so a couple of the Gundabad Ogres, I think they are. And then in here, hidden away, is the doorway for the Balin's Tomb, which I also need to get done because I need to finish that diorama. So there we are. I have a lot to get through, and that just scratches the surface. There are other games that I have half painted that I will also be attempting to finish this month. So if you're wondering whether I'm going too fast in finishing about 20 miniatures yesterday, no, far from it. Right, I'm going to get stuck in, stop rambling, and I will show you at the end of the day how much of this backlog I've managed to clear today. It's the end of the evening, and I have achieved what I wanted to. I have got my Sharky and Worm completed, without the basing obviously. And I've also gone in and just done the final couple of little bits that I left behind on these. And I'm really pleased with these. These were done a long time ago. They're only done with washes, and I think they look absolutely lovely. They've done how well they're coming out on camera, but I'm very, very, very pleased with all the little details that I've pulled out just using washes. So that's 4 done tonight. I've also primed a load of the Reaper miniatures, which I'll probably start on over the next couple of days. I think the next one that I'm going to try to finish is going to be Theodred, because I really want to be able to use him in a game. So that's a good reason to try to paint a miniature. It's late now, much later than I wanted it to be. Don't seem to be able to get early nights at the moment for whatever reason. But yeah, I'm going to wrap that up, and I will see you tomorrow for the next day in the April challenge. Welcome to day 6 of the challenge, and you can see in front of me I have quite a lot of miniatures, which is quite exciting for me. I found that there was one that I didn't prime last night of the dwarves, which I'm going to need to prime. But what we've got here is we've got the 6 dwarves that are from Reaper Miniatures that I would very much like to make a start on. In front here we've got Theodred, who is going to be my target today, though I am the least inspired, but that's not the point. I need to finish him, so I'm going to get him done. At the back we've got 6 Gundabad Berserkers, which I've primed a long time ago and not touched, so they will be probably quite high on the list as well, to be started today at least. And over here we have the Wild Girls, that are the ones that I'm painting up for my first warband. So we've got some really cool sculpts here, so I'm going to probably make a start on them as well. Let's see how it goes. I have quite a lot of other things that I want to work on. I'm also, there's other projects I'm about to start, because I'm starting to run out of projects, which is not something I like. So I'm gonna first of all, I'm gonna do a little bit of painting before I get stuck into any terrain making. So that's the end of day 6 of the challenge, and for this one, I have managed to get Theodred done. So there we are, there he is. But you can't see him very well because of how the lights are. But I've got Theodred done, foot and mount. Now I've not glued the mounted one to the horse yet, because I just want to let that dry, so I'll probably glue that tomorrow, but that's cool. So that's my achieved done, they're finished. And on top of that, I've also started to apply the skin tones to these dwarves, and they are absolutely superb. They are so cool. And also, I didn't get very far, but on one of my Wild Girls as well, I've put some skin tones on that, so that's brilliant. And I'm just blown away by the sculpts from Reaper here. They're absolutely beautiful. So if you're looking for some dwarves, I would really recommend them. Absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to finish up now. That's me done for the day, and bedtime for me. And tomorrow I will aim to start completing these dwarves, but I might do some of the berserkers as well, because yeah, it would be nice to get them done. But I'm going to kind of like work on a broader front and look at finishing at least one a day, but then have a rush of finished at the end. I think that's probably the idea of what I've got in front of me. So yeah, good day today. In front of you, you have the collections of a crazy mind. Yes, so this is the initial material collection I've put together for the Drunken Mule build. And just to give you a little bit of a background, the plots on Crownport are 6 inches wide, fronting onto either a road or in this case onto the dockside, by 12 inches deep. So they're not huge. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be building maybe 1 or maybe 2 next to each other. I've actually claimed 3 plots side by side for this, because I've got quite a large plan as I go forward, but I don't need to rush that. And I'm going to be building basically a kind of a lit up area. So I was thinking it could be good for like a lighthouse, but I've actually since been thinking that what I might do is actually build around this and have it as almost like a viewing station or whatever around that. Then I have these here that can work quite nicely. I can cut these up quite easily and glue them on in a kind of odd way, and they can be a very strange looking building, which it will be. Over here we have this, which I'm going to use and mount on, and we'll have some chain dangling off it or some rope dangling off it, and that will be access or some way of loading in materials or big barrels of beer. And then I've got other bits and pieces that I've just found, which is some old kitchen roll. And then over here a couple of boxes and the Bold detergent pot, which will also be used to build the main structure. My thinking is that I should have the board. I'm not sure how well this is going to work, because this is turned on by touch. It needs a clean, that's why it's been in the roof for 4 years. This really is making use of found stuff. I'm not sure whether I will put steps up and just have the metal showing so that you can access that. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to turn it on and off, basically. But there we are. That is the materials. Let's see how well it goes. I'm going to have a start and glue some stuff together, and I'll invite you back when I've made a little bit more progress. So it's day 7 and I'm back at my painting desk. I've just been attempting to do some progress on some terrain and bounced off it quite substantially, because I've run out of motivation, or inspiration more than motivation. So I thought I'd come down here and get stuck in with this. So the first thing that I'm going to be working on is converting up for my latest hire, which is a horse for my leader in my battle company. That's Boy George. That's going to be fun. I've got that Haradrim Raider which has broken, so I'll be making use of that and trying to turn that into a mounted Watcher of Kana. I also have to paint the names on both Angela's most recent Dwarven hire, Bob, and also on all of my miniatures and base them as well, so I'll be getting them done over the next day or two. But the most thing that I'm looking at doing and what I'm trying to finish today, so the painting finishing, because all that's going to take time, I'm going to be picking up some of these dwarves and trying to get at least one of them done. So that will be my target for today for the challenge. So I'm going to crack on. Maybe I'll get some inspiration for the terrain as well. That'll be good because I really want to get that done. But for now, it's going to be painting miniatures. So last night I completely forgot to film this because I was so tired, but I did manage to achieve my target and I did post it on Instagram. I have an Instagram now. So here is the dwarf wizard, which I'm particularly proud of. That's not focused. There we are. Very pleased with that. Don't know if that focused either. Couldn't really see from my little monitor. And here is the wild girl that I did as well. So let's just... So I got 2 done last night, and obviously I'm going to aim at getting another one done today. So there we are. That was day 7 of the challenge. My progress yesterday was rather disappointing, and I was starting to get quite downhearted about this, which does happen. It happens more often than you might realise. I try to stay cheerful on my videos. However, yeah, I was starting to think this is rubbish, I'm never going to achieve this. And then I identified why I think I was feeling so frustrated and finding it such hard work. I always build things that are playable. I always build them with interiors, frankly, because I think it's a waste of time otherwise. They just take up space on the board and they're boring. However, I never really go inside buildings, well not never, but in my wargaming so far there's been very few times when all of these lovely interiors that I build are actually made use of. And the second thing is, this isn't actually necessarily a piece for wargaming on. This is a piece for looking at and being impressed by. So the mistakes I was making, which included cutting up that very badly, though not terribly, but doing it by hand because I don't have a table saw at the moment, ripping the top off this and breaking it, which was particularly stupid, and a couple of other bits and pieces that went quite badly wrong, like almost breaking my lamp, were all around trying to work out how I was going to build this in layers so that I could lift things off and you can gain access and go up and see stairs and what have you. Don't need that at all. Don't need it at all. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making this not playable, not on the interior anyway, and that is going to make the whole build not simpler as such, because that's not the point, but it's actually going to give me that direction that I need to be able to deliver this and to be able to finish this off without feeling terribly bad about it. So I just thought I'd do a quick chat. Don't, you know, because a lot of us get quite, you know, involved, and sometimes we can get so close to a project it's hard to step back and see why things are going wrong. And that's what I've worked out in this case. So I'm going to carry on, and I'll be back with another update when I've got a bit more progress, whenever that will be. Inspiration struck. I remembered I had some other stuff which has been lying around that I saved for a build. These are actually the innards from a nappy dispensing unit. How about that? And I have 5 of them so far, because we stopped using it because they cost a fortune. But we do have more just in case we need them in the end. So I have another box that's unopened. But anyway, that's another story. What you can see here is that they fit perfectly well around that lamp. And they also are able to support the lamp top. Now, one of the issues I've got at the moment is that this particular lamp, one of the reasons why it was put away is that it just doesn't work. Look at it flickering. But that's actually possibly going to work quite nicely for this build, because, well, it's steampunk, it doesn't always work. So with that said, you can see that at the bottom I've put a little bit of a upright there. I might do a wall there or something, I'm not sure, but for now that's just supporting it. And I've got another old paint pot turned upside down, which is going to be the main structure of the building. So my thinking at the moment is that I'm going to glue this to one of these nappy dispensing things, and then glue the rest of the 3 together, And this might even mean that I can be a little bit more deconstructed. Still not going to have an interior, but at least it's not going to be too monolithic to store. So I should be able to do it so that all of this lifts off and the actual lamp can be taken out. Then I can fix it. I will need to work out how I'm going to support that, and then what I'll do is I'll glue this to the base and then start texturing. I'm probably going to wrap it in papier-mâché, maybe use some Luke's modelling compound to do the walls, and then start decorating. Now the only other thing to add is to have this thing, and what I'm wondering is whether I can't mount this somehow, maybe put a old screwdriver or something through here and then mount it somehow around the outside of this so that I can have some kind of a chain or something that's going to hang down under there. Now I'm not in a major rush to complete this, which is good, so I'm not going to hurry ahead, but I just thought I'd give a quick update of where I'm at, and I think I'm going to do that gluing of the top of the lamp to those nappy dispensing units and then probably let it settle for a little bit and see how I feel after that. Good evening. I did manage to achieve my painting goal yesterday, but actually in a bit of a funny way. I had a terrible migraine, and so I went to bed at about 7 o'clock, and I woke up at 2 a.m. wanting a cup of tea. So I came in here at 2 a.m. and ended up having 2 cups of tea and painted 2 miniatures. So I got one of my berserkers and I got one more of my wild girls. Now I need to come up with a better name for this group than wild girls, but I'm very, very pleased with the result on that one. That's much better than the first one, and it was really good to get a berserker done. I also put some time into the Keeper of the Dungeons, but this is a difficult miniature to paint. I'm really struggling with it, so I think that's going to be ongoing for a little while, over a few nights, and I might finish that later on. So this evening I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more berserkers to paint. 5 more berserkers, and I'm going to be cracking on with them. I'm going to hold off on the dwarves and the rest of the wild girls because I'm actually really enjoying painting them, and that's going to be a good reward for me should I get a lot of progress on these. So I'm going to try to finish off at least 1 if not 2 of these and get some more paint on a couple more, and we'll see how we go. And I will try and remember to record at the end of the evening as well to show my progress, but often it gets so late and I forget, so maybe I'll see you in the morning. Well, it's the end of the evening, about 11:30. I've worked on much later than I should have done really. But I have completed 2 more miniatures. Done 2 of the berserkers to end. So that's 3 of them done now, and I've got quite a long way on the final 3. So that means that tomorrow I can work on them and not work till 11:30 because frankly I'm getting quite tired and I need to look after myself a little bit better than I am with pushing on with this challenge. However, I am very pleased with myself with what progress I'm making, and I cannot complain. So I'm going to wrap that up now. I will see you again tomorrow and we'll see how far I get on this challenge. The end of the 10th of April as I sit here now, and I've had another very good evening. I have managed to finish 5 more miniatures. That is, if I can reach them, 3 Gundabad berserkers. There's one, there's the other, and there's the third. Very pleased with them. I also got another dwarf done from my reapers, which has come out beautifully. They're such lovely sculpts. I know I keep saying it, but they really, really are. And finally, I'm calling this one. This is a cave girl with a saber-tooth tiger for my wild girls. I'm very pleased with how that's come out as well. So yeah, a good evening. Let's see what I can manage tomorrow. I'm well ahead of the game. I'm enjoying this a lot, and I'm seeing a lot of people sharing and posting pictures of themselves, which is just brilliant. 11th of April, so day 11, and I'm sat back down at my painting desk looking to do some more painting. What I've decided to do this evening is tackle these 3 hobbits, which I've had primed with a very bad first layer of skin tone on for a very long time. So I'm going to crack on with them. There may be some other stuff done, but we'll see. That's my aim anyway, is to finish those 3. So at the end of the evening, and I did manage to get my 3 hobbits done. I'm quite pleased with them. They've come out very nicely indeed. So that's 3 more for the progress. On top of that, I've primed a bunch more models, including the Dunlending warriors, the Dunlending chieftains even, heroes, which is quite cool because I'm looking forward to painting them. So they'll be coming up at some point in the future. So I'm going to wrap that up now and get myself off to bed. Now that this is all dried, what I'm going to be doing is building up the walls around this lower section. So the idea I've got is I've got this shape, which is an octagon. Yep, I hit the size. Yes, octagon. And I'm going to cut card out of this packing card here, and I'm going to stick it up the sides like so. So there'll be a section there, a section there, a section there, whatever. So they're not all the same side. This is wider than that, but I'm going to be copying that shape. And I'm going to do it so that it projects a little bit above this height. So it'll be a little bit taller than this section because this sits on there. And what I'm then going to be doing is I'm going to be putting some card around here, but circular, because I want that to be circular, and that will then go all the way up to the top. So that will project all the way up to the lamp, and I'm going to be putting some balconies and what have you coming off there. So that's what I'm about to do. I'm probably going to be gluing it with hot glue. That's my idea at the moment, but what's happening right now is I'm just going to be measuring and cutting. This is a slow build. I'm not in a rush to complete it, and I'm not rushing to work out ideas or to come up with ideas of what it's going to look like, because I don't want to feel under pressure. So I've just been kind of sitting and pondering this all week, and now I'm happy with the decisions I've made, so I'm going to move forwards. So I'm going to get that cut and stuck, and I'll probably be back once that's done to show what it looks like and talk about the next stage whenever that is. I've changed my mind. I am going to talk you through a little bit more about how I'm doing this build. So what I've done is I've cut out this square from this cardboard, including this little ridge, which you might say, well, why would you do that? And the reason I've done that is it actually fits very nicely, as you can see. When I roll along here, it fits very nicely between these sections here, and it will actually act as a little bit of a guide, and it won't cause me a problem, but it's meant that also that there'll be a slightly more rigid structure. So what I've then done is taken this, which as we know, this fits entirely within, which is perfect, and I've come along and I've marked out, and you probably won't be able to see that very well. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit better. So what I've done is I've come along here and I've marked where the corners are, roughly there, okay? And what that's going to mean I can do is then on the other side, not this side because this is the inside, on the other side I can score and bend, and it will bend around this, and I've left a little bit over so that I can use that to glue as a tab, and I can create this shape but in 3D, this high, which this will then sit inside, and I can then glue it too. So that's what I've done. I'm going to get that done now. I've got my knife, I've got my straight edges, so I'm now going to get stuck into that, and we'll report back when I've completed that process and show you what it looks like. I've done the scoring, and what I'm now doing is the bending, and what you can see is that is really, really easy to do. So with just a very light score, which has just broken the top of this surface, and what we now have is my shape. So there we are. So what I'm going to do, let's just do this last one, which is my tab, which is how I'm going to glue it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that into its shape and put some glue on there and clamp it and leave that. I'm probably going to remove just that bit there, and that then will be perfect, and I'll clamp that and glue that and leave that. It doesn't need to be in perfect shape just yet. I can make sure that everything, all the angles are correct. All I need to do is glue the ring. So I'm going to do that, leave that, and then I will make sure that my shape fits in and make it all the right angles later. So there you are, another week done. It's been a good week, as I've said at the beginning. I've done a lot of miniature painting, but I've also spent a lot of time thinking about this crown port build, and it's nice to see it slowly but surely kind of taking shape. Some of the ideas that are percolating through this brain and take days and days before they appear are slowly but surely becoming reality in front of me, which is really, really cool. I've spent quite a little bit of time as well this week working on the Battle Games Middle Earth series, which you'll have to wait another week to see. That's great fun, working on the Rohan houses. I haven't actually this week yet played a game, which is a bit disappointing, but not really. It's one of those things, and I'm sure that we'll find time next week to get a game in. So I will sign this off by saying, don't forget to subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. And if you do subscribe, don't forget to ding the bell, because if you do so, then you'll be told whenever one of these videos goes live. And last, but by no means least, thank you so much for watching BeardClipper, and I hope that you all stay safe, well, out there in this strange time.